And so here we are. Here we are in February. February is the month of love. In February, we celebrate the power of love. It's Valentine's Day. For those of you that might have forgotten, it's tomorrow, Valentine's Day. And so we celebrate and recognize the divine power of love within us and in our world. And we say, and we affirm for ourselves, above all, love. Above all, love. That is the reminder, the affirmation for each one of us to hold as we walk our path. We walk our path to be free, so beautifully said in this song. All the paths that we walk to be free. For on those paths we bump into each other, don't we? We bump into different opinions. We bump into different ways of doing things. We bump into things not always being the way we think they should. Above all, love. When we remind ourselves of that, we set our egos aside. We say, we know who you are, ego. You don't need to protect me right now. Sit back right over here. Above all, love. To love is to find happiness, joy in making others happy. That is one aspect of above all love. It's to want to understand what others think and what others feel. It doesn't mean we need to join in agreement where the other is, but we have the desire to understand, to know. And if they're hurting, to join them in that hurt, to love them through it, to behold their divinity, their beauty, their perfection, when perhaps their own sense of perfection, their own mirror is fogged by perceived failures or perceived lack. We hold the mirror for others to say, you are a beautiful child of God, you are perfect, just as you are. We do that for one another when we are reminding ourselves to love. We are viewing every person in their perfection and mirroring that back for them. It is to know their weaknesses, yet see them as strong, and through our awareness and our affirmation of their strength, they become stronger. And I say we and they, we do this for one another. Always. We do this for one another. We take turns being that higher love. And then we forget. And someone else reminds us. That's the beauty of community, is that we do this for each other. Hold that higher love. It's to accept others as they are. Even if our outreach of love is rejected. That does not change our acceptance of others wherever they may be. We can be like children who want to play music, but we haven't learned yet, we haven't mastered an instrument. For the beginning of love is to give. The beginning of love is to give. And for those that have not given a lot in their lives, this is not an easy task, but we can start so small. We can give a smile when we see someone instead of walk by and ignore them. We can acknowledge with a kind word, whereas before we might have not said anything. And how they respond or not respond does not affect who we are. We don't greet 3 people in the morning, and if all 3 do not respond to us in a positive manner, then, well, that didn't work, I'm not going to do that anymore. No. How others respond does not affect who we are. The sun doesn't stop shining because there's some people who sit in the shade. We shine our light of love wherever we go. We stand firm in our in our knowing, grounded in our knowing that we're here to love. We're here to love one another. Now, our ego wants to pretend that it matters how others respond to us. Our ego wants us to believe that we only stand in this space of love if everyone around us has responded positively and returned that. That is not the case. The ego is not the boss of us. We turn within and we find that essence of the divine within us and move from that space. We make the determination that we're going to shake that off. Because to not shake that off is to live in fear. We have no desire to live in fear. We choose to live in love. We don't want to shut ourselves off from our own good, and I've done that. We've all done that. We've reached out, we've been hurt, we pull back, we withdraw, we curl up in ourselves. It's like touching a hot stove. We can't help but draw back. But the key is to remember, above all, love. And to maybe turn that dial down a little bit. Try again. It's not going to stop us from being who we are. It's not going to prevent us from experiencing the good, the God, everywhere present in our lives, and to be part of that good. We're carrying that good with us. We're expressing that good with us. It's emanating from us as who we are. Undeterred by rejection. Is there anyone here that's never been rejected? I'd like to see a hand. We all face rejection. Someone who speaks harshly about us or doesn't seem to care for us or whatever it might be. It's hard for individuals who want to please everyone to not be accepted by everyone everywhere they go. That's not what we're not here to change someone else's perception of us, except through love. For when we are always coming from that space of love, we can be sure that the energy that we are carrying is positive and uplifting. And if there are those that are unable to accept it right now, that's okay. That's okay. We bless individuals where they are. We accept people where they are, wherever that might be. It's the foolishness of the small self that thinks that the outside world defines us. That's our ego in our fear. I asked last week, what did Mahatma Gandhi do? What did Mahatma Gandhi do that transformed an empire? What did Dr. Martin Luther King do that transformed a nation? What is it that each one of us can do to transform our world? We each carry that soul force. And it's through our own determination that above all we are going to love. It's through our own determination that we decide that we carry that message that nothing can overpower love in action. That when we are love in action, there is no other force that can prevent that love from carrying into the ethers and touching all. And when we're firm in that faith, when we carry that power with us, it is unstoppable. And our world, starting with ourselves, our inner world is transformed first, because first we must love ourselves. And in loving ourselves, we do things that are good for us. We eat in a healthy way, we exercise, we hang with people that are positive, we bless our world. We do things that are good for us by setting healthy boundaries. And then that love is able to permeate every aspect of our lives. What a beautiful thing. There was a scientifically controlled study in Germany at the University of Kassel, and it has shown that the chest area, this area, of human beings emits about 20 photons of light. 20 photons of light. However, when we focus on our heart center and focus on the concept of love and compassion like we just did in our meditation, that light that sends light and love to others emits an amazing 100,000 photons per second. 5,000 times more than if we're just humming along through our day. Taking 5 minutes to focus on our heart center of love and compassion changes our energy for the entire day. That's how powerful that is. Numerous studies have shown that these photons infused with loving energy have literally changed matter, have healed disease, and transformed negative events. That's how powerful we are. Everyone in this room, that's how powerful we are. We are incredibly powerful beings. And so when we meditate on love and inclusion and acceptance and compassion and kindness, you will see its effects all day. Now more than ever, we need to be able to offer each other grace. Now more than ever. For our society has faced such a hard 2 years. Grace for having different opinions. Grace for not knowing the answer. Grace for making mistakes. Grace for learning to do better. Grace for doing the best we can. And that's how we get through tough times like these, is by lifting each other up. We have the power to do that, to lift each other up, to forgive one another's humanness, because we come as such complicated, complex beings, grounded in the human experience, and loving each other, especially when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Last week during the annual membership meeting, and then this week, I received all the suggestions, all the comments on the little index cards, and it has been so incredibly uplifting for me and incredibly humbling. Because even though you'd only been given a few minutes to think about an alternative approach to finding your new spiritual leader, looking at different ways at how that might happen, you all were on board in considering thinking outside the box. And you were so positive in affirming who we are, what we're doing, where we're going. It brought tears to my eyes, truly. I also realized that there needs to be a little bit more information flowing from us to the general community, because I know not everyone's going to go online and look at the board minutes. And so one person had mentioned that we need to do more things in the community, in our neighborhood. So I'd like to share with you what the board did in December. We had this idea, we had this concept, we wanted to gift to our neighbors. And so one of our board members found these beautiful Peace Dove Christmas cards. And this individual donated those cards and 32 Publix gift cards. We wrote messages in the Christmas cards that said, "Thank you for being our neighbor. We know that we create a lot of noise and traffic and parking, and we are just so appreciative to be part of this community. Please accept this gift from us to you." And then we put a little note in there about the burning bowl service and the white stone ceremony. And we said, even if you just want to stop by, create your own list. It'll be out in the courtyard. You don't even have to come into the church, and you can put your list in the fire. And then Beverly Goldner and I played Santa one day, and we went to 32. We're down Watson, Virginia, and behind us, gifting our neighbors with these cards. And this morning, when Janet and I were getting out of the car, one of our neighbors walked by and said, "You're the pastor, aren't you? You gave me a Publix gift card for Christmas. I just love you guys." Hey! And so we need to be better about sharing that information so that it's not just the board that knows what's happening, but you all know what's happening as well. There was one comment card. So for whoever that is, please forgive me. There was one comment card that says, "We are just surviving, we're not thriving." Please look around. That is so not true. We are doing incredibly well, however we want to measure that. If we want to measure it by how many people are watching us or coming to the church, it's on the rise. If we want to measure that by how we're doing financially, we're doing great. We have things that have happened. You heard the accomplishments that Nancy Mishka shared last week, and we have so many things for this year that are happening. We are thriving as a community. And there were a couple of comments that said we need to do a little bit more, newspaper advertising. I want you to know that we have one of the largest promotion teams in Key West. Every one of you is part of our promotion team. Everyone that's online, you are part of our promotion team. When you see an event posted, share it, comment, let people know what's happening. Tomorrow night is our Valentine concert. And I was here for the rehearsal, and it is going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. This is one of the least threatening ways that you could invite a friend to come to church, to come to this event. And unless you've got a really good reason, I want to see you here tomorrow night. And if you can't be here, find someone that you can get a ticket for. This is a gift for our community. And Lori suggested we find a way to pipe it out into the courtyard. And wouldn't you know it, Mike said, I can make that happen. We can make that happen. So people can even come, bring their little lawn chairs, sit outside, sit along here, and hear the concert. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? Yeah, yay us, yay us. Remember that we are mission-centric. We are not minister-centric or board-centric. Nancy Callahan has a team of volunteers that includes almost everyone in this room. We have an amazing group of volunteers that help keep this church as vibrant as it is, that extends the hand of love and just gets things done. It is truly amazing. So when we look at what is before us, whatever it might be, we ask ourselves, how can I best be love in expression? Each one of us asks that question for ourselves, and we ask that question for our church community. How can we best be love in expression of love in our world? The answer is simple. Be outrageously and unreasonably loving. That's our assignment. Be outrageously and even unreasonably loving. As vulnerable as if there was nothing to risk, because there truly isn't. Above all, love. That is what I felt at our annual meeting. That is what I feel every time I'm in the company of this community. And together we say, and so it is, and so it is.